So I got nerve gassed in high school after my first date with my first love for cheating on the guy that raped me in surgery when I was 6 years old. After that, there was some medicinal, like some side effects. I don't know how often they prescribe that particular depression medication for getting nerve gassed and lied to about it. Told it was mono. I go to my new school, and the principal does not like me, and he won't put me in football. Like I had just made first string finally the year before, and I get to the new school, no football. So that right there set me up. I mean, of course, I had already just been nerve gassed and lied to what kind of season it would have been, but so there was a period of like, one might say, uh, what would call it, impaired judgment. Judgment was a little off for a couple of years because I, wanted to get married to her and live happily ever after. And like after that, I met people like I wish that it had been simpler, but obviously by now I've already been raped and nerve gassed. So, I mean, I end up in this alternative school. I I went out with this girl one time, and the next morning, I told my buddy at the locker, I was like, I don't think it's gonna work out because there's like a hygiene issue, and I didn't notice the guy at the locker next to him, what kind of sleazeball he turned out to be, because by the end of the day, um, I guess he had run his mouth all over the place, and she ambushed me, spit in my eyes, blinded me, and I stuck my hands out in front of me, and she fell down. I tried to help her up, and she stormed off, and I didn't know what it was about because it wasn't like I was being spiteful or you know clowning her or anything. But this guy took such pride in that morsel of gossip he overheard, and he ran around proclaiming it as his own. I never thought about it enough to realize what it was about. So anyway, the principal was had an interesting name in context. He put me in this alternative school where there was a lot of uh, experimentation. It wasn't nearly as profitable as it might be for one of you upstanding officers of the law, but it put some wear and tear on the baddest vehicle, and I used to just take them up uh, just to buy weed mostly, half price from where I live. But there was other stuff, right? Uh, but I tried it. I know what it tastes like. I know what it smells like, but I didn't inhale. I didn't get carried away with it. I didn't make the investment. Well, anyway, all these years later, I still have people acting like I was some kind of baller or whatever. There was a couple funny moments, but what happened to some of those people afterwards, when the whole thing was a setup, we were like exemplary, like a focal point, just an excuse to liquidate these communities like they'd been doing since I was a little kid. And I'm supposed to like report sensitive information through whatever, who, like, Scotland has forgiveness, Italy. Like, what did you think I needed your forgiveness for? Because if it's valid, I'm not heartless. I still want to have, like, ethical. But if you're just following people around, did you know her before she met me? So are you her church or my cult? Corporate spyware has a family clause. You have to be related. You're supposed to be an immediate family member. Well, that puts me in a bit of a pickle, doesn't it? Because they got all these people and only one family. Washington, fucking fag revolution, been trying to kill me since I was 6 years old. Scotland, Italy, that's a nice long road for world peace. The rest of them, it's going to be a function of the government. It's not religious. What that means. Like we're going to stop them. But you got Haitians following me around for 25 years, acting like it was a blowjob. I wasn't supposed to find out. They've been following me around, making excuses to tell people not to talk to me. And I'm like, well, you know, if Geneva Convention is not represented on the land, it's not represented till it is. And you go around and tell people not to talk to me about crimes against church and state and humanity. And like, you want to get medieval? You want to get medieval about it? Cut their tongues out. No. My democracy has the Bill of Rights. Let you know when we see it again. Tell them not to talk to me now, mime. Romans, right? Washington. Kids, don't try this at home. But if we're being denied Geneva Convention until such time as, you know, powers that be deem it appropriate to carpet bomb Washington, in the meantime, so they're not enforcing other human rights, but they're going to enforce a ban on waterboarding. They're just going to cut your check off. You know? Just let them do whatever they want. You try to stop them, try to find out who they work for. You'd be in big trouble. The new owner doesn't like water up his nose. It's pure silk. You don't think it has something to do with all those faggots and Haitians, do you? Why it had to be so convenient. You know, the last king of Scotland was a cannibal warlord from Central Africa, but even though I resolved that, you know, unraveled the mystery there, it was like a riddle. And picked it out. Well, that means that. That's the answer, and they act like it doesn't matter. They just cull Europe and Europeans for 60 years, and somebody figures it out, and they're like, well, it still holds. Like, we don't have to listen to this guy. Well, if the shoe was on the other foot, we wouldn't be Christians, because Christians don't necessarily need, you know, we're not looking for an excuse. It's not, Christianity is not a plot to enslave the globe for flat earth. Like, we don't necessarily have to own everybody that looks like you, but the shoe's on the other foot. I'm saying the whole time they've been pushing population control on us, they just changed their age of marriage from 11 years old. So it's been population control here and accelerated breeding there, because they're going to replace us is the plan. Sound racist? Sound like conspiracy theorists? I don't know. Look it up. It's fact. I just infer that they plan to replace us based on the stated intent of being the last king of Scotland, whoever lives. But yeah, so various factors contributed to a unique childhood and adolescence, and it goes back to preschool, so don't be too surprised. Turns out to be a plant in the faculty from time to time. All these years following me around, thinking you can make whatever they're looking for out of me, whether it's what they're looking for or not. So that school turned out to be a setup, because how was it just going to confuse you for a coke dealer? They had to know. I mean, honestly, if you know how some of these guys work, they knew it wasn't me, but they had some kind of sketchy like scenario they thought they could use and played it out. Never took. Somebody lost a bet. So it's the fag revolution on one hand, obviously, Anheuser, and then the Boko Haram, I'm calling them, and then these guys, I don't know who they think they represent. Would it have not been more economical just to not to? All these years, like, I'm all depressed, and the Army was the high point of my working life, and I didn't realize that they ran me off. It didn't register. Like, it was suspicious, but obviously they were under the impression I did something. I don't think they're really that racist, where they're like, "Oh, a black girl." Maybe at some level, being a Jackson, bad enough. I'm part Cherokee. All the nerve. So these people get like a work order, a scripted reality from humanity's closest natural enemy. They make it look like this and just beat it to death year after year after year. And the first time you go into Secret Service and tell them you whatever, and uh, you should hopefully be able to follow up without uh, answering service act like it's all a big joke, and then the other various agency bureau like uh, military bases. But I've been writing at CIA for 9 years, man. Who was protecting me from the CIA as an insider? This would be a good icebreaker. So all these years I've had Haitians following me around over a blowjob, and somebody's just using me online because I couldn't go to school, so I was kind of like trying to dig interesting like religious stuff, but I already had people pretending to negotiate. So they're pretending to negotiate with like theology and stuff. And I said at one point, my first blog was about the study of human intelligence, which I defined as the ability to connect two ideas accurately, abstract mechanics, spatial reasoning, and these guys would have had to have been like, intelligence, we'll show you intelligence. Had I known it were a proprietary term, well, I'm talking about slipping people a Mickey. I have none of the training, resources, or benefits, pay, access, nothing that the CIA has. Everything you heard me talking about was stuff that came up on Facebook, Google, out of a book. Like, read a book. Read a book! You're gonna go and rip off the deadliest librarians in world history, act like I'm obligated to forgive you. It was a blowjob. Which one of you is my son? Can we get a paternity test, Langley? And a chainsaw?